your arrival at UCLA?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And were you present when the paramedics pulled into the emergency room bay that's reserved for emergency vehicles?
I was.
Okay. And at that time, were you present when Michael was unloaded off the paramedics' rig and taken straight into the emergency room?
Yes, I was.
What were you doing at that time as Mr. Jackson was brought from the rig into the hospital?
Well, there was a lot of paparazzi that was following us, and so what we wanted to do is protect Mr. Jackson's privacy. So as they were getting him off, I remember going towards the paparazzi and asking them, please, this is a private moment, please step away. And then I proceeded to head back towards the ambulance, and I took off my coat, I believe, and I tried.
And then you went out to the front of the house?
Correct.
And as they brought Mr. Jackson outside in the gurney, what were you doing at that point?
I believe I went towards the children and started talking to them so that they wouldn't see their father come out like that.
Okay. Were they, the children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, were they in a vehicle at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you kind of blocking the view of their father?
I was trying to distract them, trying to get their attention, yes.
And were you present then once the paramedics left the location of Carrollwood and proceeded to UCLA Ronald Reagan Medical Center?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you follow the paramedics to the hospital?
I did.
Do you recall in what vehicle?
I was in one of the Escalades, sir.
Okay. Do you recall with whom you drove to UCLA?
Yes, sir. I believe it was Derek Muhammad, Fahim Muhammad, and I believe Michael Amir was in the vehicle. There was three securities plus myself.
Okay.
The view.
Okay. And did you remain at the hospital while the emergency room doctors attempted to save Michael Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Were you present at the hospital when he was subsequently pronounced dead?
Yes, I was.
Sir, were you, while at the UCLA Medical Center, following the pronouncement of death, did you speak to Conrad Murray?
Short periods of time, yes. We said a few words.
Okay. At some point he came up to you and thanked you?
Yes, he said, thank you for your help. And I said to him, we did our best.
And when you said, we did our best, you were referring to yourself and Conrad Murray, correct?
Correct, yes.
And to everything you knew at that point in time, you thought you each had done your best?
That's correct.
Okay. And you had no reason to suspect Conrad Murray had done anything inappropriate at that time, had you?
No, sir.
Did you have any dislike or animosity toward Conrad Murray?
Not at all, sir.
Had he treated you well?
The few times that we spoke, it was a very warm conversation. It wasn't.
As you sit here today, do you have any personal anger or animosity or vendetta against Conrad Murray?
No, sir.
At some point at UCLA, did Conrad Murray ask you to be driven home?
Yes, he asked if he could be taken home, back to the house. He first said he was hungry, that he hadn't ate all day, and he said if someone could take him home, back to the house. And I believe Michael Amir was not too far from me at that time, and I didn't answer the question, and then he directed that same question to Michael Amir.
Okay. And so you heard that, but were not part of that conversation?
No, sir.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. At some point, I assume you left UCLA following the pronouncement of death?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Prior to your departure, and after, let me strike that, after you spoke to Conrad Murray, or rather after you heard Conrad Murray making this request of Michael Amir Williams, did you see Conrad Murray again?
I remember seeing him sitting down, like right in the hallway where the emergency room was at, where they were working on Mr. Jackson. I remember him sitting down and him saying, I wanted him to make it. I wanted him to make it.
Okay.
And after that, I didn't see him.
Okay. So that was the last observation you had of Dr. Murray, was when he was seated there making those statements?
Correct.
Okay. At some point then, did you load up the vehicles with the other security personnel and begin driving somewhere?
Yes, sir. After a few hours, I believe, when we had arranged for Mr. Jackson to be taken to the corners, and we felt the situation was secure, we all loaded up into the vehicles and drove off, sir.
Okay. And did you eventually then drive to the Carrollwood location?
Yes, sir, we did.
And the police were already there?
Yes.
Okay. And did you remain outside of the house at that time?
Well, we identified ourselves, and then they allowed us to come into the property with the vehicle, and we stayed inside the property. So.
Okay. Inside the property, but did you go inside the residence?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you seen pictures of yourself standing outside of the house on the property?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you stand outside of the house on the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you left the property shortly thereafter, is that right?
That's correct, sir.
And why was that?
I was asked to take the children's Labrador over to the Jackson's Havenhurst residence, sir.
And that was their dog, Kenya?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Did you do that? Did you take Kenya, their Labrador, over to the Havenhurst residence?
That is correct, sir.
Sir, following this incident on June 25th, 2009, through to today's date, have you been approached by media outlets to give an interview?
Yes, I have.
About how many times?
Various times, over 20, 30 times.
Have you agreed to participate in any of these media interviews?
No, sir.
Have you been offered money to participate in these?
I have.
About how many times have you been offered money to sit down for a media interview?
I would say about 9, 10 times.
How much money have you been offered?
Up to the sums of $200,000, and remember one offered me $500,000.
And you said no?
I said no.
And the National Enquirer offered you $200,000?
That is correct, sir.
Mr. Alvarez, has anything good come from this tragic incident for you?
No, sir.
What has it done to your life?
It's caused a lot of financial problems. Just really don't have steady, and so, I went from a great salary to hardly anything.
You do get sporadic security work?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You've worked kind of one-night jobs for various celebrities over the period of time?
I have, and unfortunately, they try to sell my involvement with Mr. Jackson, and we get accounts in that manner.
But you went then from a full-time, what you describe as great salary, Did you enjoy your job?
I sure did.
Okay. And to now, fair to say you've been pretty much financially wiped out?
I have.
Have you been honest with the law enforcement and honest here today regarding what you observed on June 25th, 2009?
Bolstering the witness.
I'm sorry?
He's bolstering the witness.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
To my best of my ability, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Walgren, thanks. Mr. Chernoff, cross-examination, please.
Mr. Alvarez, we have met before at the preliminary hearing. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
Today, you've shown a picture was shown to the jury that's titled People's Exhibit Number 27. Let's take a look at it. And you were saying it's your picture, you drew it, and you did a poor job.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
right? When did you draw this picture?
I'm sorry?
When did you draw this picture?
Believe it was back when we were supposed to start the trial. I think it was May. It could have been May or April or May of this year, of
Of this year.
2010.
You drew it after the preliminary hearing.
Yes, sir.
This, however, is not the first picture that you drew of this IV bag, is it?
I could have drawn another one, yes, sir.
In fact, you drew a picture of this IV bag for the police on the 31st of August, 2009.
Yes, sir.
Great. Oh, sorry about that. I'm going to put this in. This is defense exhibit. We're at F, Judge.
F is in Foxtrot.
You remember this picture?
Yes, sir.
This is a picture you drew for the police, giving the bag to them.
Okay.
Well, is that a yes? Do you remember that?
I don't recall that I drew that specific picture, sir.
Okay, so I guess it would depend on what a police officer would say about that, right?
I'm sorry?
It would depend on a police officer, what he would say about that? Do you think, did a police officer draw a picture of the IV bag?
Not sure, sir, but I don't recall drawing that because I would have drawn it more specific towards the IV stand, sir.
Well, this picture here that you drew, and by the way, you draw this for the prosecutors?
Objection made.
Sustained.
The People's Exhibit 27, did you draw this for the prosecutors?
Objection made.
I'll overrule the objection. Do you understand the question?
No, I don't, sir.
Sustained on that ground. Re-ask.
Who asked you to draw this picture?
Mr.
Prosecutor?
Yes, sir.
Do you know him as a prosecutor?
Yes, sir.
All right. And this was last time that we were preparing for trial. He asked you to draw this picture, right?
Correct, sir.
This picture shows, the picture you say you don't remember drawing, shows tubes coming from an IV bag, right?
Yes, that appears to.
And this picture, if it were drawn during your interview on August 31st, 2009, would have been 2 years earlier.
Correct.
Back to People's Exhibit 27, we see here at the bottom you've drawn a little nub. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you recall speaking to the police on August 31st, 2009, don't you?
Yes, I do.
In that period of time, you never described to them that there was a little pointy nub coming from the bottom of the IV bag.
I don't recall, sir.
You don't recall telling them if you did? If
No,
there
I
was
don't
or there
recall if I
wasn't?
did. No,
Well,
sir.
did you?
I could have. Yes.
But you don't recall.
I don't recall, sir.
Now, the officer you spoke with was Detective Myers.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So Detective Myers, you understand, would have taken notes, right?
I believe so, yes.
In fact, Mr. Alvarez, did you know you were being recorded?
Yes, I did.
And did you know there was a transcript of that recording?
Yes, I did.
Would you have any reason to doubt that transcript
Not at all, sir.
or that recording?
No, sir.
When we had the preliminary hearing and you testified there, you recalled testifying at the preliminary hearing, right?
Yes.
You never said anything about a nub or anything attached to the IV bag.
Objection assumes.
The objection is sustained.
You described the IV bag at the hearing, didn't you?
I believe I did.
And you didn't describe that there was some nub coming from the IV bag.
I don't recall, sir.
One of the questions that we asked you at the preliminary hearing was about this milky white substance, right?
Yes.
And we also talked to you about this the IV bag that you said that you saw, right?
Correct.
We asked you questions about that, right?
That's correct, sir.
Now let me show you. Is this yours over here? Let me show you. Can we turn down the lights, Judge, please? Just
We'd
over
be
here.
happy to. Ms. Watt?
Today, you've testified that this, I believe your testimony was, this is the bag that you saw.
That appears to be the bag that I saw, yes, sir.
How do you know?
It looks like the one I took off the stand, sir.
And you notice here, this particular bag that appears to be the exact bag you saw has no milky substance in it.
Yes, sir. I see that.
We also, let me go back to that. We also asked you at the preliminary hearing to describe the vials that you saw, right?
Correct.
And you said, I can't describe it. You remember saying that?
I believe so, yes.
You said that all you could tell was I asked you the color of the labels. I asked you all kinds of specifics.
I said I believe I said that I didn't have a clear view of all the bottles, sir.
Well, but today you're saying that this.
Objection. This misstates the testimony. Which vials are we talking about?
Well, let me ask.
Sustained. Just a moment. It's sustained. Re-ask.
You're saying that this is the bottle you saw on June 25th, 2009. That's your testimony today.
That is
Misstates the testimony. States it was, appears to be.
I'm going to overrule the objection, and you may explain.
I said that appears to be the bottle that was in the bag.
Pierce.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Alvarez, is it possible, Mr. Alvarez, that you are confused about the timing of these particular events? Is that possible?
No, sir.
Not even possible.
No, sir.
You turn the lights on, please.
Thank you. Ms. Watt?
Is you recall when you first spoke to police officers that you said that you believed Dr. Murray and you were packing up to go to the hospital.
Yes.
You testified to that today, right?
Yes, sir.
And actually, that's exactly what happened. You went to the hospital, and so did Dr. Murray. Is that right? So, isn't it possible, Mr. Alvarez, isn't it actually likely that when you talk about things that are being put away, it was after the paramedics came and before you went to the hospital?
No, sir.
All right. Can you put the pad up for me? Judge, we're going to put up a pad and mark on a pad. Is there any particular place you want us? Can we have it right here? Can we put it right in front of the jury?
Do we have an easel?
We did. Just right here.
How about that? Ms. Gorcha?
Yeah, I think he was asking where you want the easel.
Well, for the benefit of the jury,
Can I put it over here?
Perhaps that's the best location. We'll see. I don't know how big you're going to be writing, so. Or you could put it in the middle. I mean, I don't know where it's best. I want to be able to